something very important I want to do here at the top of this show, because I have a list. I have a list on my tablet right now that I was writing down all night last night, all morning this morning. My grievances with this head coach. My issues with Tom Thibodeau. And it's a long-ass list. But I think it is a disservice to the audience and a disservice to truth to start there. Because, Tiki, you were a professional athlete.
Yep.
And if you didn't play well, if your team didn't play well, as much as we could kill Tom Coughlin or Jim Fossil, it starts with the players.
Of course.
So before we get into the laundry list of Thibodeau issues and people call in and have their own Thibodeau issues, let's start with the fact that the guys on the floor last night, and I'll list all of them that I got issues with, they're why they lost. Josh Hart playing, I don't give a crap if he had a double-double. You could take the double-double, throw it out. That was one of the worst performances he's had as a New York Knick.
Yep.
Mikal Bridges, again, empty stats. The stats don't mean a damn thing. One of his worst performances as a New York Knick. The king himself, Jalen Brunson. Karl-Anthony Towns, again, committing dumb fouls early. Like, defensive communication, where the hell was it? Defensive urgency, where was it? Like, this to me, Teak, before we go anywhere else, is a failure of the players on the floor, and that's why they're down 3-1.
No coach will ever, maybe in practice, dribble a basketball. No coach ever will take a shot at the rim. No coach ever will have to defend through a pick or run around a screen or run out on a three-pointer. No coach ever has to do that. It's always the player. And when they do it well and they get the credit that they deserve, by all means, give it to them. But when they play terribly, and especially like the Knicks played yesterday, where they had as many turnovers as they did assists in this game, it's not on the coach. I mean, it is on the coach, but it's mostly on the players. We talk about the glory belonging to the guys on the court and the guys in the arena, so to speak. But the blame also goes there. Now, part of this is just the Indiana Pacers being damn good. Just watching or hearing the words of their players after these series of games. They don't care who gets credit. It could be Tyrese Halliburton one day. It could be Nesmith another. Pascal Siakam on a third day. They don't care who gets the credit. So give the Indiana Pacers a ton of credit. But at the same time, the New York Knicks aren't up for this challenge because they can't play consistently enough game over game over game. And that's not on the coach. That's on the player.
Well, that's the word, consistency. Like, we have seen throughout this long postseason in the Detroit series, the Boston series, and in this series, the ceiling of this team, and it's damn high.
Yes.
And then there are moments, probably more moments than not, where defensively, and that's where it starts. Coming into this series, the key to me was defending. And too many times, whether it's miscommunications, whether it's not knowing where you're supposed to be, whether it's being late on rotations, they fail.
Yeah.
And so, I want to give the Indiana Pacers a lot of credit. We can do that. Tyrese Halliburton played like a man yesterday. Great job by Tyrese. But a lot of this is on a team that should be better than this defensively, failing.
Yeah, but I think part of that is because they're trying to keep up with the Indiana Pacers. And Charles Barkley said this after Game 1.
In the middle of Game 1.
Yes, in the middle of Game 1. If the Knicks try to keep the pace of the Indiana Pacers, they are not going to make it through this series. And that's what you're seeing. They're just exhausted. You see some of these timeouts, and they're huffing and puffing as Tom Thibodeau is trying to instruct them or give them direction or change the schematic or do something different to stem the tide from the Pacers. And they're gassed. And so they're playing a team that has a system that they're very comfortable playing in. And the Knicks have constantly tried to change what system they're playing in. And as a result, they're always playing catch-up. And that's what it feels like every game. It's always catch-up, right? You get behind early. You fall down 10 points. You fall down 50. Let's catch back up. We'll pull it within 6. But you can only do that for so long before you're just simply exhausted.
You can't play at the Pacers' pace. That's what Barkley said in the middle of Game 1. Yes. It turned out to be prophetic as the Knicks collapsed and blew Game 1, which, unfortunately, if they don't win this series, and it's not over, I'm not overing this series. I said yesterday, can they come back from 3-1? Absolutely.
Right.
But the only way they're going to come back from 3-1 is by doing a lot of things vastly different than what's happened in the first 4 4 games of this series, including last night. And it starts with that magic C word you just said, consistency. This team can defend. They can defend.
Yeah,
We've seen them defend.
Fatigue,
they don't do it consistently.
Fatigue makes a coward out of everybody, dude.
No, I get
That's
you.
what that comes down to.
I get you.
It's like you want to. In your mind, you're saying, I'm doing this. And then your legs just say, nah, I'm good. Your ass says, nah, I can't squeeze it one more time. No, my hamstring is giving a little bit. I'm tired. That's what it comes down to.
Why are they tired there, Teak? You told me
Right.
they're going to play all these minutes and it keeps them well-conditioned for the playoffs.
Well,
Where's that right now?
It keeps them well-conditioned to play the pace that they're used to playing. And so, but when you're, what was their pace? You told me, you said this last week, and I forget. They were 24th, 5th, or
they
whatever.
were in the bottom quarter or bottom half of this league in pace. Meanwhile, Indiana's top 7.
Yeah, it's like if
You can't play at the pace.
If I went out and trained to run 10 miles, and then all of a sudden someone's like, yeah, you're in good shape, right? You ran all those miles. Go run a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
I would die. Right? You just die. You're not trained to run that and at that distance. It's the same thing with the Knicks. They're not trained to play this fast for this long, and it's catching up to them. Despite playing all those minutes in the regular season, they played slow. Now you're trying to play fast. It's like jogging versus sprinting.
No, you're right. And if you look at when they won Game 3, they were doing it at their pace.
Yes.
And yesterday, and you saw the repercussions of it. Defensively, they're a slop.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, they're a mess, which can't be the case from guys whose track record tell you they're good defensive players. Mikal Bridges' track record is that he's a good defensive player. He wasn't yesterday. Tyrese Halliburton cooked his ass.
Right.
He cooked him. That's just the reality. OG Anunoby has been slow at times in this series. We all know Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns are liabilities. The way you make up for that is everyone else on the floor needs to be elite defensively,
Yes.
and they're not. And the other thing you mentioned is the sloppiness, the turnovers. Because when you turn the basketball over as often as they did, they turned the ball over 17 times. That is far and away the most in any game they have played in this postseason. More than in any game against Boston, more than in any game so far in this series, more than any game against Detroit. When you turn the ball over against this team, you're going to get burned.
Right.
And they got burned all night last night. 17 turnovers cannot happen.
Right. And it was 20 points, I believe, off turnovers.
Yes.
I mean, just don't turn the ball over. Now, this is going to happen, but turn it over half as many times. It's then all of a sudden, you win by a point. You know what I mean?
And
just to do stupid math.
Yeah.
You win by a point.
And you know who the biggest culprit is? You know the biggest culprit is, and I get that some people after a loss just want to blame the top guy, and you can do that. I totally understand that. You want to go after Jalen Brunson, go after Jalen Brunson. Want to go after Cat, go after Cat. But to me, the guy I watched last night, who I looked at and said, he's killing them.
Right.
Get him off the floor, is Josh Hart.
Yep.
Let's just call it like it is. That doesn't take away everything he's done for this team. Doesn't take away the passion that he has and what he leaves on the floor. But Josh Hart was awful last night. He had 5 turnovers. He committed 6 fouls. Those fouls led to easy Indiana points, obviously. He turned the ball over. I don't care that he was 12 and 11. I'm telling you right now, this is why box scores can be overrated in the NBA. Because if you watch this game, Josh Hart killed him. And Tom Thibodeau, it only took me 8 minutes to turn my attention towards him. I apologize. I'm trying to keep it away from him, at least for the opening segment, because it should be on the players. But when you have a player who's killing you the way Josh Hart was, that's where a coach can make an easy decision. He can say, I'm taking you off the floor.
Yes.
Because of all the guys on the floor last night, and trust me, everybody deserves their blame. Like, where was Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter? Fair question. Where was Karl-Anthony Towns when he's committing 2 dumb fouls early in this game? All fair questions. Mikal Bridges, who on a fast break is fading away like he's afraid of contact, something we talked about during the regular season. All fair game. But Josh Hart was the guy more than anyone else who I'm watching, and I'm like, get him off the floor. He's killing you right now.
And it's interesting, the optics of it, because obviously he didn't start this game. Mitchell Robinson started this game. Something that, Josh Hart even said he needs to be on the floor. He is a defensive presence that the Indiana Pacers have trouble with. He still only played 19 minutes. It's not like he started and all of a sudden he played 30 minutes. He played 19 minutes, and Josh Hart played 36, as always. So you just manufactured it differently, but you basically did the same thing.
And he didn't deserve to play 36 minutes.
That's what I mean.
And the other thing that just boggles my mind boggles my mind is how you could come out in the second half of a 5-point game in a huge, important postseason game and come out as flat as they did. It's almost like they didn't expect the second half to start. It's almost like the Knicks came out to start the second half like, oh, really? We're playing another half of basketball? I thought we were done. I thought we were going to go see a movie.
Again, this feels like fatigue to me.
Is that really what it comes down to, T?
Because why else would you not be motivated? Given where they were in this series, having blown game one, obviously down 2-1 at that point, having to make a miraculous comeback to even steal the one game that they did win, and you come out in the second half and what was it we called in the Detroit Pistons series? Urgency. The lack of urgency.
Which they brought up numerous times. This is not the first time that's happened.
Right, and so to do it at halftime, after halftime in a game that you have to win, right? Because we all know the statistics. 13 times in the history of the NBA playoffs has a team been down 3-1 and come back to win. It just doesn't happen.
Very rare.
Very, very rare.
Though Tom Thibodeau's done it before.
Yes.
Against my team. I'm very familiar with that.
You know what I mean.
No, it's rare.
It's not insurmountable, but given the statistics that you gave us in the previous series, meaning the Boston series with the Knicks, that is the away team wins the first 2 home games, then wins one of the next 2.
It's over.
They have never lost that
Correct.
series.
The Knicks are battling history.
Yes.
They're battling their own history because their own franchise has never come back from 3-1 down. They've never even come back from losing game 1 at home in a best-of-7 series. So they're battling their own history. And you're right, they're battling NBA history. We know how difficult it's going to be. But the lack of urgency, which you just said, was brought up in the Detroit series and again happened last night, is inexcusable. Here is Mikal Bridges after the game admitting something that has to make every Knick fan sick, which is essentially, they tried harder than us. Take a listen.
So I used to play harder than us. I didn't play my best game, and I feel like on both ends, just let my team down a little bit, but we just kept fighting. They came out with more fire.
They came out with more fire, and they tried harder than us.
Look, I give the Knick players credit for saying what actually is going on. I give them credit because they could easily just make up nonsense. I'm hustling. What are you talking about? Right? But they tell you what they did wrong, and while you're hearing it, you're saying, well, why the hell did you not come out with the same fire?
Right.
It's baffling because if you're aware of it, then you shouldn't have done it, right? If you're aware that you're constantly reckless with the basketball, then don't be reckless with the basketball. If you're aware that, man, Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam are playing with some fire right now, how about bringing some fire?
Yeah.
To hear them say it, I commend them because they're telling us what we actually saw, which is commendable. But how do you not recognize it in real time and adjust?
Well, that's the thing I don't think anybody can understand. You are playing Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. You are down 2-1. You're about to be down 3-1, and we got to hear, well, they tried harder than us. Because that's essentially what he said. And whether the reason for that is what you said earlier, that these guys are worn out and tired, I don't know what the reason is, and I think I'd agree, and most Knicks fans would agree with me in saying this, who cares what the reason is? The bottom line is you're playing huge postseason games, you're investing your time and energy as a fan, and you're watching that crap. I'm telling you, the part of the game that boggled my mind the most was coming out in the third quarter. Because you would think, with the way the first half closed, and with the urgency of the moment, that there would be, even if it's not Tom Thibodeau doing it, even if it's not Rick Brunson doing it, even if it's one of the players, a riot act reading going on at halftime. And instead, they come out in the third quarter and basically let the game completely slip away. It's unbelievable. Now, is this series over? It's not. I don't care. You win 3 games in a row, it can happen.
It's doable.
Then it's very, very doable. What feels undoable right now, as we have this conversation on a Wednesday, is believing that this team can do it consistently for 3 consecutive games.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because if you look at this postseason, they haven't done it in 3 consecutive games.
No, they haven't.
They've usually won 2 in a row, lost the game, won a game, lost the game, and maybe there's 2 in a row. To do it 3 times in a row, to clean up your act for 3 consecutive games, that's what feels arduous. That's what feels impossible. It's not 3-1 winning Game 5 at the Garden. It's, can this team, who's been a riddle all year, they've been a freaking riddle, can they solve it right now in this moment and play to their peak for, I can't do 48 times 3, but 48 minutes times 3. Whatever that is. Do you know what that adds up to?
Well, 40 times 3 is what, 120?
Right.
And then 8 times 3 is what?
24.
There you go, 120 plus 24. 148.
148! Can they do it for 148 minutes? And that's the part where very few Knicks fans are going to say, oh, yeah, we can do that.
Right. Now, I have a little bit of a dilemma.
Yeah.
And I hate to do this.
Go ahead.
I really do. Because I love this guy.
What?
Tommy, you got to stop going, dude. You got to stop going to the
for
Garden,
those that aren't
Tommy.
aware, Tommy was at Madison Square Garden last night for a watch party. And according to my records, when he goes to Madison Square Garden for a postseason game, whether it's on TV or in the arena, his record is, you ready for this? 0-3. Tommy, this is Tiki speaking. Go ahead.
Well, it looks better than the record actually is, what I would say. It's not as bad as it seems. I am 0-3, and as I was saying to the people as we were leaving last night, the season's not over, so the record is really pending. You could put an asterisk next to the record. Don't let positive Tommy get hot.
I will still lead us.
Yes, I wouldn't keep me out of the building. So if you have tickets for me for Game 5 and you want to pay for me, I would bring me because you never know when it's going to turn around.
Tommy, if you go to Madison Square Garden, whether it's someone handing you a ticket, whether it's you buying a ticket, you're being selfish because Tiki's right. The Knicks right now are better when you're not there. You were there last night.
I was.
You were there during one of the home games. I forget which one or two at Madison Square Garden.
I was there on Friday.
Yeah, you're 0-3 at Madison Square Garden. So when you're not there, the Knicks are 3-2 in the postseason without you, which is pretty good.
It's literally the first thing I thought about.
Me too.
I was like, oh, Tommy's there too. Damn it.
Yeah. You're the kiss of death. So I think if you are going to be the selfless leader of Knick fandom that you claim to be, and I believe you are, you need to resign from going to Madison Square Garden, and you need to do it now.
Just for this rest of the series.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Just the rest of the series.
Just the rest of the series.
And then if they make it to the finals, we'll try you out for a game. And then if they lose, then sorry. But just for the rest of the series. Can we agree?
We can agree.
Thank you. Do it for the Knick fan, Tommy.
We can agree for Game 5.
Okay.
Game 7 may be a different discussion.
Well,
we can at least have the discussion.
Let's test it out then.
Yeah.
Do you want to come with me to Game 5?
Of course I do.
We just talked about this, Tommy.
He dangled it. He dangled the candy.
You're very selfish, bro.
He asked me a question.
You got to put the team above you. And right now, this team is awful when you're in the building. That's the reality. Now, we will get to the Tom Thibodeau hit list because I got a ton of issues with this head coach and what he did last night. We'll get to that coming up. We'll get to your reactions. How are you feeling, Knicks fans, as they trail 3-1?